Welcome to Virtual Realms, R1 here. And yeah, this is a video about the Terminator. I've heard from a lot of folks that the Terminator is currently pretty overpowered, and I tend to agree, but it is not the easiest vehicle in the world to just pick up and play. It's an interesting mix of heavy-duty autocannons and anti-tank guided missiles. I'm going to try the guns out right now. Well, they seem to be pretty good. Let's load up some missiles. And the first thing that strikes me about this vehicle, the missile systems take a very, very long time to load. Well, you're loading 4 tubes, and I guess that's why. You'll get to fire those off in short order, but you pay the penalty for that and needing to plan very carefully when you're going to switch to that weapon system. In case you haven't figured it out already, this is my very first battle in the Terminator, and I literally knew nothing about this vehicle. Well, it was quite an educational experience, but I warn you, this first match is awfully rough. I'm trying to get the hang of its weapon systems, and frankly, I haven't used anti-tank guided missiles very often at all prior to this point. So I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, but I'm going to learn a lot too. I thought you might find it interesting to see how I learn and progress as I slowly get used to this vehicle. And if you haven't played it yet, maybe it'll help you out just a little bit. One of the main problems that I had at first was figuring out the advantages and disadvantages to firing these anti-tank guided missiles out of a straight-on aimed tube. When they would go too low, when they would go too high and skip right over the target, and getting my timing down on using them. Watch this. I'll fire right over the top, completely miss him. We're going to try it again here in just a second. But the firing arc was just a little too short. The missile couldn't track down in time. Fire, but my teammate took him out first. And that's a reoccurring issue that I have throughout this first match as well. It takes just a second of sitting still and aiming those guided missiles before you can fire. And inevitably, at first, my teammates would finish the vehicle off before I had a chance to fire. Either that, or I would hit my target and I wouldn't quite kill it, and my teammates would finish it off before I could get my second shot lined up. It was a timing issue, and it's one that I slowly got the hang of as time went by. Now we're stuck again, waiting for a reload. It takes so long in this vehicle, a lot of opportunities just roll away. I could have killed that thing 10 times over with my guns, but, well, maybe not. But anyway, I had to wait for my missile reload, so I missed that opportunity. You'll see that happen a few times in this video as well. Don't worry, it does get better. I have decided at this point that I'm going to spend most of this first match mastering the missile system, getting the hang of it. That's a little bit better. Finally got the arc the way I wanted it to be. I'll try that again. Too slow. Alright. Let's see what we can do to a targeting system sticking up above that building. Got a hit. Didn't do a lot of damage though. I guess that's not really a vital component. Now I'm stuck with a long reload again. Let's pull back and see if we can avoid dying while we reload our missile racks. And of course, he takes that opportunity to move to a better location. I'm getting moderately frustrated at this point, but I doggedly stick with the missile. Let's drop one in. Alright, we did some damage again. And another. And again, my teammate polishes him off before the missile strikes. We're going to try and blow away this tank's cover. It's a Leopard. Doesn't seem to do a lot to cover, and he just simply moves out of the way anyway. So that was not ideal, to say the least. I've already planned to do a second video on the Terminator here in the next few days, and in that I'm going to go into some more specifics and some of the backstory of the Terminator, but for right now, suffice to say that one of its biggest pluses is the fact that it's mounted on a main battle tank's hull. So even though you do have some significant reload times involved, you're generally tough enough to weather the storm until you can bring your offensive weaponry to bear. And the Terminator ends up being light enough that it has a very good power-to-weight ratio, which means that for such a tough vehicle, it can get up and move when it has to. I'm going to make a prediction right now about what is going to happen with the Terminator in the next early access phase, which will be coming up in about a week from the time this video was recorded. I think that certain aspects of the Terminator are going to be nerfed just a little bit. Its guns are extremely good, and once you get the hang of its missiles, well, it's an extremely effective package, mostly because its hitboxes seem to be a little wonky. From certain angles, it's extremely hard to do any significant damage to the Terminator right now, and I think that's going to be fixed. You can damage it from the rear, or if you hit its weapons package up top, but from the front, I've seen them take ridiculous amounts of damage and walk through it like it's no big thing. And I think that's going to be adjusted by the time it's all said and done. On the other hand, since they're bringing in a weapon grouping system that will allow multiple weapon systems to be reloading at the same time, I think that's going to end up making the Terminator much more effective in other ways. You'll be able to fire your guns while your missiles are reloading, and that will be a godsend. You will still have a bit of a delay when you swap weapons, but it won't be anything compared to the current weapon reload times when considering the missile system on this vehicle. Well, we've won this match. No real thanks to me at all, but at least it served to give me an idea of how to run the vehicle, and we'll see if we can't do a little bit better next round. By now I've decided that I'm going to try and use the guns for in-close work and the missiles for medium to long-range sniping. It seems like a sensible arrangement to me. And things start off rather quickly this time around. Well, the guns work great. I'm pleased with them, but the missiles are still proving to be a little problematic. Finally getting the hang of it though, so we'll just bear with our strategy and see how it goes. I'm going to spend the next minute or so maneuvering into a position where I can bring my weaponry to bear for better effect. Knowing when to make that switch from guns to missiles and back again, to me is starting to seem like the key to playing this vehicle well. Still got a lot to learn about it, but I am starting to get the hang of it. And I'm getting used to the peculiar timing involved in getting its weapons to bear before your teammates nick the kill. And I'm starting to get a better sense of what these missiles are really effective against and what they aren't. My initial instinct was to use them against the bigger tanks, but really I found that they are more effective against the more lightly armored ones like the Sheridan. As I come around and look at this M60A3, well, first, I'm way too close, as you can see. And second, his armor type is going to be rather effective against these missiles unless I get into a position where he's not very well protected. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. From the rear, well, they work pretty well. We're getting close to the end of this match, so let's see if I can sneak in one last sneaky little kill here. I've got missiles loaded, so we'll stick with that. Oh great, a weasel. This won't be the easiest target, but I was able to loop it in anyway. That worked out pretty well. Now, at this point, I should have shot that secondary objective down there under the bridge. But I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and cap. It's about that time. And I'll let the tank that's right over there by it go ahead and grab that secondary objective while I'm finishing the capture of the base. As it turns out, that was a little bit of a mistake. Oh, the base capture went just fine. But as the counter ticks down, I suddenly realized that that tank was more concerned with pushing tanks over the edge of the bridge than he was about getting the secondary objective. I have no explanation. But really, the only thing that matters to me this round is I've done better. I'm starting to get the hang of this vehicle, and I intend to push it as hard as I can in this last round. Operation Spearhead can be rather intense anyway, especially when one of your teammates appears to not have spawned into the match correctly. Things are about to heat up considerably, especially when we start losing the other members of the team as well. At the moment, we've only lost that M60 Patton that never spawned in, but we're about to lose the Leopard and the Swing Fire here in just a minute. It won't be long before it's just me and the other Terminator, piloted by Sacktown Tanker. And we're going to have to work together pretty closely if we're going to survive this round. Yeah, it's just the two of us now, and so far we've held our own, but increasingly we are finding ourselves surrounded and cut off from each other. This starship hurts me badly, and I'm about to take another hit from behind as I deal with this. That next hit is going to reduce me down to 37 health. One more hit from anything, there we go, and I'm going to be gone. This is going to get really, really rough. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see just how much the Terminator could take and how much it could dish out. I suppose you could say it's time for the acid test. And I have to give credit where credit is due. If Sacktown Tanker hadn't been as good a player as he is, I probably would not have survived to see the end of this match. You'll see what I mean. Now that's the way I like to see a match end, hanging on by your fingernails from the edge of a cliff. We'll have to see what the future holds for the Terminator, and if it gets nerfed in the next release, but it's a fun vehicle to play right now, and I think it will remain so in the future. That's all that I have for you this time around, and until I see you again, good hunting. Thanks for watching. I hope you were entertained. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. And I'll see you next time.